Ciao to everyone, and welcome to part 2 of the Dying Will Chronicles, where we talk about the anime Katekyo Hitman Reborn. I'm Retro Rick, and with me, I am very pleased.
Hi.
Hi.
So, Sinclair, Richie, what do you guys do?
Sin, can you explain what we do?
We have a podcast, youtube.com. On it, we talk about Soulsport stuff and video game stuff, and we also have educational podcasts, and we have a podcast about cryptids, but mostly,
Most importantly.
we have an episode-by-episode analysis of Katekyo Hitman Reborn.
Yeah, and whose idea was that?
The muses.
Yeah, so, I had never seen Reborn before and decided one day that we were going to watch every episode of it in sequence, and she was just going to get my reactions to it. And we did all of season 1, and I have no idea what the show is. And knowing that there's another, I think, 180 episodes to go.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have no idea what is going to happen.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, first of all, Sin, how did you get introduced to the series? Like, where did you learn about it, and how did you watch it, and like, what were your first impressions of the series?
I guess I'll go first.
Yes.
Basically, my boyfriend really loves anime. He's been watching it forever, and he has watched a lot of things, and he has a computer full of anime, he has a Crunchyroll subscription, and he's seen a lot of Katekyo Hitman Reborn. And so when we started dating, he told me we should watch together because he watched it and he loved it. But obviously he watched it when it just came out and read the manga. And so I was like, cool. And after the first episode, I was completely hooked. So after work every day, we would come home and sit down and just binge Katekyo Hitman Reborn. And it was a lot of fun, and it was so awesome.
Nice. Rich, you already basically explained how you were basically dragged into this.
Yeah, and I still not entirely sure how this is going to work.
Yeah. You're our guinea pig. You're like you're fresh eyes.
Well, the weird thing, and we covered this last time, is that I'm like fresh eyes reborn, but overall I have seen a lot more anime than Sin. So the cast is like me, sort of ropes,
right,
and Sin. Yeah. So there's this kind of a tug of war going on throughout this.
That's good. For me, I heard about it while I was in college. A few of my friends were obsessed with it. It was already like around season 4. They told me about it. I said, I'll check it out. And I checked it out from like where it was like airing, which was around season 4. I said, hey, this is pretty good. Then when it was on like its hiatus, I went back to season 1. And for like the first 16 episodes, I was not invested at all. I just didn't care. I just wanted to see like how it got up to I saw, and did in season 2 picked up. I was like, okay, I get this anime. I like it, and the more episodes I watched, I just kept falling in love with it. For me, I love the characters in this series. Some of like there's really not many characters I don't like. There's maybe like at least 5 characters in like the thousands they have in this whole series. And plus, of all the good and like the community is really the fan base of this is really fun. Now let's get into season 1, which is developed into 3 parts. The following episode is brought to you by JList.com, where you can find great stuff from Japan, like candy, video games, cosplay, even adult 18+ items. By Kawaii Box, where you can get a box from Japan sent to your house each month, filled with key charms, plushies, and other cute stuff. Play Asia, your home for all imported video games. Things from Another World, you can get Funko Pops, and a large collection of marble, DC, and IDW Comics. And if you'd like to help out our channel, help us improve our audio setup, we have a PayPal, Coffe page, and Patreon page, where for $1 a month, you get great perks like unedited episodes and even other stuff. Every dollar helps to keep the lights on here at SuperFancom. And thanks to my guests, Sinclair and Richie, all their links and all the links from everything you just heard above are found in the description box below. Now, on with the show. First is the daily arc, which introduces us to the characters and their motivations. And then part 3 is back to daily life. Richie, do you give a quick summary of what Reborn is?
One of Reborn starts off as like straightforward shonen story, and then as it goes on, you can sort of see the author reconfiguring by sort of like adding and removing some characters and tweaking relationships and stuff. It starts with a kid called Suna. Like most protagonists in these sort of shows, he's like kind of lazy. He's not great at his schoolwork. He lives at home with his mother, so is absent, and he's just sort of like he's kind of a loser, but he has this innate sort of power that is awoken. Very, very small baby shows up wearing a suit and a fedora and shoots him in the head with a called the Dying Will bullet, and that sort of awakens Suna's inner fighting spirit. So the first kind of arc of it is basically a series of the stories that aren't really related to each other. It's just something happens at school, and Suna's not sure he can do it, and then the baby who's reborn shoots him with he's able to do it, and then that kind of reaches climax. He's able to start doing things without the Dying Will bullet.
Yes.
So that's sort of, and it's that anxious. He sort of starts to assemble. We're all like, there's like the standard sort of like characters you would expect in this. So there's like the really hot-headed boxer. There's the guy who's obsessively defending him. There's the wacky girl. There's the girl he has a crush on. Yeah.
And then the people who live inside of his house for no reason.
Yeah, that was one of the more confusing.
And his mom seems to be okay with everything.
Yeah.
Like in other animes, the parents don't really care what their children are up to.
Yeah, and also like his father is absent. The Reborn has arrived on behalf of the mafia that this was a member of, and it turns out that Suna's Dying Will, he's the 10th descendant of a great mafia boss, and the sort of overall arc of the series is Suna getting to a place where he's like responsible enough and things enough to become a mafia boss in the world of Reborn is like being a ninja. Yeah.
Sin, what do you got for us?
Could you just give 1 second? A huge heart turned on.
Yeah, no problem.
He wants to be on the podcast.
Oh.
Okay. Sorry, could you say that again?
Yes. So, Sin, what would you like to add to our little conversation?
As I feel like you really got to know the characters and their stories and their relationships, and what they're good at and how they all work as a
yeah, this first season is 33 episodes, which still bothers me that it's like the first season is a normal first season is like 24 episodes. First like 1 to 19 episodes are called arc, which we're basically introduced our main character motivations. Episode 20 to 26 is the Kyoko arc, which is basically the first real threat of the series, and after 27 to like filler episode before season 2. Let's talk about the Dying Will. Sin, you want to?
Okay.
You want to talk about the Dying Will?
Well, basically, the Dying Will bullet is sort of a special weapon that's created by the Vongola family. There's more than one bullet out there, and we'll learn more about the mafia technology. And the specific bullet, basically, if you shoot someone with it, and if they feel they are reborn with like a flame, and they can overcome things they were not able to overcome before being shot.
Also, do you want to add anything, Rich, to the Dying Will bullet? Like, it makes Suna become naked? which,
that's
which
the
we
other
never,
thing, yeah,
which I
yeah.
think we actually talked about in part 1.
When he's hit the dying will bullet, his clothes fall off and he runs around in his boxers, which is kind of embarrassing.
Yes.
And at the beach, and he's shot with the dying will bullet, but he just keeps the swimming trunks on. I was hoping trunks would disappear, revealing boxers underneath, but that doesn't happen.
Amazing. But other than the dying whale bullet, we also have one of my favorite weapons in this anime, called the 10-year bazooka, with my favorite character, Lambo, who's basically yes.
Sin's favorite character too.
So cute.
Yeah, Lambo is just basically he just wants candy all the time. He doesn't really care about anyone around him until he just wants candy.
He's
Yeah.
adorable.
I was about to say, I can see why Sin relates so much to this idiot.
Basically, what the 10-year bazooka does is once you're it envelops you, you skip 10 years into the future, but it lasts for 10 minutes. So basically, if you're inside the 10-year and you become 10 years older, and really no one around you really notices you're 10 years older, no one really calls attention to it, and no one really thinks other people.
This thing gave me a headache. That makes sense.
Very
Because
simple. Really a headache.
the way that it's been explained today makes it seem simple, but then they're confusing for me. Because what it's actually, according to the show, it's making you 10 years older. It's swapping you.
Yes.
It's yourself from an episode. Somebody is poisoned and they cure them by hitting with the 10 years, go forward in time 10 years, and then they come back and they're cured, and they explain years and cured them into my present, which was
I think that's pretty brilliant.
Yeah, you never, at least as far as we've seen, you don't see the younger version in 10 years in the future, which seems like that would be, just wreck everything.
Yeah.
I was dealing with this would make a lot more sense if it was a 20-year bazooka. They talk about the babies, when the babies are hit by the bazooka and replaced with their future self, they call it the adult self.
Yes.
And you get the character saying, there's a character who has a crush on adult Lambo and is saying, oh yeah, I'm really into adult Lambo because guys my age aren't mature. But if you look at the ages of the characters, in 10 years Lambo will be 15, which is younger than the cast. So none of that makes sense at all. The babies, I'm doing giant air quotes here, babies in this show, not 5. They are the size of Pop. They are tiny.
Yeah,
If Lambo was 5...
They're pre-Funko Pop.
Okay. Actually, yeah, he's not a 5-year-old. He's like a 1-year-old at best.
Yes.
And the mechanics of the 10-year bazooka just really had trying to figure out.
Yeah, I understand. I totally get that. It was confusing for me too, but the more you watch of the series, I feel the better it gets.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I
What are your thoughts? Yeah, what are your thoughts on the dynamic between and Reborn? Rich. What?
It was. It just reminded me of a lot of shows where there's the hero when they've got the master teaching them, and the master is just putting them through things that are deliberately sort of humiliating and chaotic in order to help them grow. So a lot of the terrible reborns actually land ahead wrong.
Yes.
Bro, yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of Richie. I help you grow.
Oh.
Yeah.
For better or worse. Yeah, but the first 16 episodes, we meet all our main cast that we'll be following, Suna, his right-hand man Gokudera, Yamamoto Takashi, who's the baseball guy, and basically he does all sports. Rohei, one of the main characters I hate, because he's all about extreme. Because he hasn't grown out of the 90s yet. Haru, who Suna has a crush on.
No, Haru has a crush on Suna.
Yeah, Haru has a crush on Suna. She cosplays, is a fangirl. Kyoko is the one who Suna likes. Who's also Rohei's sister. Meet Lambo. We meet Ipin, who's basically a Chinese delivery girl. Singing with the bazooka.
Yeah.
Richie actually really, really likes Ipin.
That's not, this is slander. I said, is Ipin, for those way, Ipin is horrifying. Ipin looks like a Bayolet from Berserk. She has a gigantic egg-shaped head and a tiny little face in the middle of it. And there was a kind of horror throughout the first season where I show yet. So every episode I'd be like, is this the one that used the horrible egg baby?
Yeah. Basically,
Yeah.
if you want to know about Ipin, there's a scene in the movie, So I Married an Axe Murderer, and there's just Joe's character's giant head. Move your head. It's like Sputnik.
Yeah.
I
So
think
again-
Ipin
again,
is
Ipin-
wonderful.
Ipin's other thing is that she releases horrible gas.
Yeah.
How to make this character less appealing.
Well, she just marches to...
Yeah.
We also point out that, like, Reborn is... So it's like, okay, I get why the magic baby is also working for the Mafia as a tutor. But Lapo and Ipin are just regular babies who were trained to be Mafia assassins from the second they were born 6 months ago.
Yeah.
Like, it's...
We were also introduced to Hibari Kyoya,
Yeah.
who is one of my favorite characters, mainly based on where he shows up. He has his own theme music playing. And
Okay, I'll do the Hibari face, and Richie, you do the theme. Let's go.
I can't remember the theme.
Ah, you ruined it.
Oh, that's
Okay, Richie, you do the face, I do the theme.
Okay.
Dun 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 dun. Dun 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 dun. Thank you.
Yeah, that looked very serious.
yeah, Hibari is basically the head of the disciplinary committee at school, whose gang is all made up of guys with pompadours.
Yep. This is traditional.
Yes.
Yeah.
And they keep peace at school no matter what.
Yeah, yeah.
They're
And
very committed.
I think we're dancing around the real thing about the school disciplinary committee, which is that canonically more influential and powerful than the Mafia.
Yes, they are.
Not just more powerful than, like, Suna screw up kids. I mean, like, the actual Mafia can't touch them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're also introduced. In episode 9, we're introduced to Dr. Creepy, which is Dr. Shamal. Yeah.
Yeah.
A doctor who only treats women. He will not care for any male unless he's being.
Yeah, he also will treat women if they don't want him to.
Yeah.
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 We
Yeah.
meet Bianca. yeah. Shamal is basically a creepy doctor.
Yeah.
He'd be canceled in 2020.
It'd be cancelled anytime.
I feel like just his behavior should get him arrested.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There are no cops in this series, I noticed.
No, there are, because there's the episode where Suna learns that
That's right.
part of being a mother, if you see someone get injured, you should tell the police.
That's right.
Yeah.
We're also introduced to Bianchi, who's Gokudera's sister, who's the poison scorpion, because basically everything she cooks turns to poison.
Poison cooking.
Episode. Then we get like I said, during the daily life arc, it's basically we meet all these characters, we see them interact with each other. Then from episode 20 to 26, we are introduced to our first real threat, which is Mukuro Dukuro and his friends.
Mm.
What were your guys' first?
Real. Yeah. As someone who didn't know where the series was going when this happened, I was just like staring at the screen because this is a series that like up until basically this point has operated on Looney Tunes physics.
Right.
Like we mentioned Bianchi. Like Bianchi is a character whose gimmick is that she can like cook food that is hot enough to through me. Like it's all just on a plate in her hand and she throws it and it like it's wacky. And Lambo is a baby with grenades in his hair and as soon as room is blown up repeatedly and like things like that happen, there's an episode where they go to the zoo and all the animals escape and Ryohei plays arcade game against an actual bear.
Yes, but
just in like with the snap of your fingers, it's like actual just violence. There's still a baby with a fedora. Yeah.
Yeah, we are introduced to Mukuro and his henchman Ken, who can change his powers based on the teeth he wears that he calls channels. Chikusa, who basically uses yo-yos to attack. Lancia, who has the giant wrecking ball. The Blood Twins, who really don't do much and are never seen again after season 1.
Yeah, I think they were sent to prison for life.
Yeah, they were. Along with the Birds, the old creepy guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, this character who is like something from a completely different series.
However,
as an actual serial killer.
Yes.
Yeah.
But he does end up having birds with him, which become one of Hibari's pets, called He-Bird, and Hibari trains him to know the school anthem.
Yeah.
But we also got MM, who plays the clarinet and can use them like nunchucks, and because why not? And in the games, she's kind of fun because you can actually use those nunchucks.
We haven't got around to playing any of the games yet.
Yeah, they're mainly ROMs now. Yeah, but the arc with Mukuro, you get introduced to Suna's signature look of the X gloves. Sin, can you tell us about the X gloves?
Exagravo! Oh my god. The other day, I go to my boyfriend, and out of nowhere, I literally go, Exagravo! And he looks at me, he's like, yeah, I've seen Reborn. And I'm like, oh. So the X gloves. Basically, at some point during the series, toward the end, after the... Richie, what's that word when there's like an abrupt tone and shift in tone? Yeah, so that, when it goes from the happy times to like a very, very dark type anime, Tsuna has to confirm. At some point, this leads to floating in the air like a disco ball and giving birth to Tsuna's gloves.
Yeah.
And at first, they're like regular wool gloves. But then, I think Tsuna infuses them with a special bullet that Reborn shoots, and they become X gloves. And they're really, really cool. Like, you can use them... Well, I don't want to give out too much because Richie hasn't seen... Richie has only seen episode 1, but basically you can use them in various ways. They kind of act like, I guess, a weapon on one hand, but also kind of like those things in Iron Man's suit, like Richie pointed out, on the other. and they're super cool.
That's actually a good way to put it. I never got the, yeah, his pulsar rays. I like that now. I see that now.
Yeah, the repulse. Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah, but basically his X gloves are basically Suna's like trademark signature look. And then after they fight off Mukuro and his gang, uh, they're all sent to Vendici prison.
Yeah.
Never to be seen again, maybe, who knows. Um,
Is Vendici prison the secret mafia island where they make super soldiers? Isn't it?
no, it's basically like an...
Oh, okay.
It's something else, Richie.
Yeah.
Something else, alright.
Just like there's about 1,000 characters, there's also like 1,000 locations.
Yeah.
Because I haven't seen anything season 1, but I've seen the intros
Right.
of some of the later seasons, and it just looks like a completely different show that happens to have some of the same characters in it.
Oh, yeah. There is that tone shift.
Yeah.
I think Sin illustrated the tone shift well when she was talking about how, like, there's a serial killer, but then is given gloves by a magic cartoon chameleon
Yes.
over to him. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, yeah.
This also led to an on-camera breakdown for me when
No.
Sin asked me if I thought it was strange that cherry blossoms were appearing indoors. And I
Yeah,
pointed
what I
out
was
that
trying-
nothing in the show made any sense up until that point. I don't know why the cherry blossoms specifically were meant to seem... And then you were like, well, you just feel it. You
Yes,
feel
trying
that
to-
it's strange.
I was trying to get you to think about how happening there,
Yeah,
and you
yeah.
were just not getting your the show is weird. Why would this be
The
weird?
show is
No.
about a baby who is pregnant. Like, it's...
What, if any, anime would you compare this to, if any? Have you ever like seen like Rich? Before coming into this, have you ever
Yeah.
seen an anime like this?
I've seen, like, anime about, like... And then they, like... You know, there's, like, there's the power inside you that you have to wake
Yeah.
up. And it's, like, yeah, and, like, we talked about this a bit as well, like, last time, that the anime that I'm most familiar with EA stuff, it's not long-running teas, so I never really watched. So, like, when I watched Reborn, around episode 12, I'm like, well, this feels like the...
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
because, like,
I
okay,
get it.
he's learned to do all the stuff, this would be the end of the show. But then I'm like, oh, wait, no, this is 200 episodes. It's going to keep going. Yeah. I think it's because of, like, where and when, like... because anime shows were not on TV.
Right.
Like, it was pretty much there was Robotech and there was Sailor Moon, and that was about it.
Mm-hmm.
So the idea of, like, watching a really long-running series is not something I ever did, but I would watch, like, OVAs that came out on VHS, yeah.
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 Also, as an aside, like the way I got this show originally, I kept as an aside, I kept ordering DVDs from a eBay like site called ioffer.com.
Yeah.
So I would get the series, I would lend it to I didn't get it back. So I ordered it again. Stupid me, I lent it to another friend. 2 DVDs are missing. I order another set. I lent it to, and stupid me, I hit it again, lent it to someone else. The first disc is missing. I'm like,
Yeah.
And then,
Oh no.
then maybe like 2 years ago, I see it online again. The whole series, $20. I'm happy with that. Got it. I'm never letting it go this time. Because I would watch it on Crunchyroll when it first aired, and then like other sites when it became like freer.
Right.
Anyway, let's talk some of our favorite fun episodes. Sin,
Yay.
what makes an episode fun? In Reborn.
I think makes the episode fun is the characters and the situations they found themselves in. Just the interactions between the characters, very cute, they're very funny. A lot of people I've heard say that they don't like episode 1 to 16 or whatever, like those quote-unquote,
Yeah.
and they're so fun. I think so too.
The ones that worked best for me were like, because we talked about it having a weird length that like most shows are 26 episodes per season and this was 33. So the way that's structured is like after episode 26 basically ended.
Yeah.
But then it's just extra episodes that are just like out of body. They don't seemingly line up with anything because things are happening in them that shouldn't be happening if they're set after episode 26. But yeah, it's just people making weird crap happen. And I thought, to me, like, that was the most interesting part of it, because it was to the weird, like, tonal shift where Hibari was being kicked out and bleeding everywhere. To just go back to, like... And also, it felt like they maybe had a better handle on the characters by that point, because there's one character I keep forgetting her name. She's this girl who's really quiet.
Hannah.
Hana. Yeah, so there's this character called Hana who's like in it at the start and she's really quiet. But she's like in it. They keep showing her and I'm like, where is this going? And it goes nowhere. They just forget she exists. But then they just like give her a completely different...
Yeah.
And they bring her back in those 7 episodes to just like stalk Suna. Yeah, so that was... That worked better.
I feel like Richie may have been annoyed a little bit, but also I think as Richie wasn't necessarily prepared to binge all of the episodes of Reborn of season 1 in like a couple of weeks, so he got a little... I understand, but what I really like is, you know how whenever like you see Gokudera, oh my god, Young's gonna show up and he's gonna be like, oh, my stomach, and I like that they just keep repeating it, or whenever like Hibari's on screen, it's always like serious and music plays and it's really cute and just all these things, like each character has...
Something that I felt is that it did feel like more repetitive to me because we binged it than it would have if it were just on every morning. Because I brought this up when we were watching it, but I had gone back like a couple of years earlier and rewatched the old Transformers series.
Oh, nice.
The old cartoon. Yeah, and realized like, oh wow, there's like 3 plots in this, and they just do them over and over and over again.
Yeah, they do.
I watch 1 episode a day. Whereas if I were watching them all in sequence, I'd be like, oh, they're going to the Earth's core again.
Yeah.
The Decepticon captured a power station again.
Yeah, that's why there's like maybe going on a Transformers rant, because I grew up in the era of Transformers. Other than the great movie of '80s, maybe about like 5 episodes that like really stick out to me.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's all like... Of course, the first one is like the return of Optimus Prime. the Hate Play, which is one of my favorite episodes.
Yeah.
And I think it's the Ghost of the Ghost of Ghost of Sarsa.
Yeah. And they're all from way later on in the series. Yeah,
but just
when
like the earlier stuff,
heavy.
just like the earlier stuff. But
because it's pretty much the same thing over and over again with a different robot this time.
Yeah, just new toys.
Yeah.
Because that's all it was.
Yeah. The movie is amazing.
Oh God, yes. Everything about that movie is amazing.
Yeah.
But get back to...
Yeah.
I can spend hours just talking about the movie. It's honestly one of my top 10 favorite movies ever made.
I've seen the movie more than any other film in existence because when we DVD player, it was the only DVD that we had. So I just watched it on loop over and over again, just baited by the fact that you could press buttons and just start again.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, because I at least ad nauseum, I quote, "I can't deal with that right now," almost on a yearly basis. But yeah, I could talk about that movie forever, and we might on a future episode because that sounds like
people. I'm just not.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I'm Rich.
I'm cool.
But anyway, but there are times when this series can be serious and they do serious episodes. It's also like teaches you about like the birth of friendship, because that's all what a lot of animes do.
Yeah.
And what do you guys don't like about the show? Like at least the first the first season. For me, it was the 15 episodes are nothing but character development. You're waiting for something to happen, but then if you wait long enough, something really does.
To me, what I don't know if it's dislike, because I don't know what the hell happens in the rest of this show, but it felt like the person until the very end was like the author sort of reading her own work. Like she would come up with a character and then not know what to do with them, and then they would appear and...
That's fair.
Yeah, so it felt like it was sort of... And that final 7 episode thing almost felt like that was a replacement for, like, season 1. It's like, here's what the show is like, these characters.
Yeah. Or the author didn't, like, you have 7 more episodes, but my arc is finished. How am I going to do this? Filler. Just do filler.
Well, there was a really weird one. It was like, they messed up Yamamoto's dad's sushi shop or something like that. And then they all comment, now to pay off his debt, Sunen's going to have to work in the sushi shop from now on. And I'm like, okay, I get that's going to be sushi shop. And then it's just never mentioned again.
Yep.
Yeah. And I thought, is this going somewhere? And then it wouldn't. And it felt like, I don't know, it was when we mentioned Dr. Shamal, like, there's an episode where Sun's sick and Dr. Shamal won't do anything to him because Dr. Shamal only treats women and is, like, obsessed with Bianchi.
Yep.
And then in the same episode, they point out that Reborn's, like, his chameleon sort of familiar thing. One of its powers is it can make you look like another person. And I thought, okay, they're going to make Suna look like Bianchi and that will solve the problem, and they don't. Like, there's like, it's there. The exact way this story should go and logically is like in front of you and it doesn't happen. There's just some other unrelated.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sin, is there anything of the first season?
I wish there was more filler episodes. I wish there was like 100 filler.
You wish it was like Azugadai or something.
A what?
Just like random stuff happening.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, it's not necessarily random. It's still interconnected. Like, the characters still have...
Almost finish up this episode. What are you guys' favorite episodes? Single with you first.
Well, I have a lot, but one of them is... It's the episode that Richie mentioned that has Hannah in it. And basically, Hannah likes adult Lambo. Suna that he doesn't introduce adult Lambo. She's going to tell Kyoko that he's dating Haru. And Suna's like, wait a minute, that's not true. And so basically, Suna has to figure out a way to get, I guess, adult Lambo to show up. And... obviously, like, coincidentally, Lambo does it on his own because he's, like, running around with a bazooka and he hits something and he gets into the bazooka and the bazooka is actually malfunctioning. And what happens in that episode is that basically Lambo, like, normally the 10-year bazooka, what happens is your current self travels 10 years into the future, and your future self travels to the current time. But because it was malfunctioning, Lambo stayed in the current time, but he was in his older body. And so, I guess it's not funny when you're recounting it, but basically Hannah meets Lambo, who looks like adult Lambo, but he's acting like the child Lambo. And we also find out that Hannah really doesn't like children, and when she's around them, she gets like crushed.
I feel that.
Oh, he's not annoying at all, and then she like breaks out and hides because he is very annoying. So I really like that episode because like a lot of funny things happen during it, and it's really cute.
Rich, what were your favorite episodes or episode?
Oh, like I said, I liked the last 7 where it was just sort of random thing. And that has an ending as well. Like, it ends with the beginning of New Year, and it ends with them all going to this, like, New Year's festival. And it's like, oh, okay, this last 7 episodes was, like, consistent, and it had a consistent tone, consistent characters, and it had a beginning, a middle, and an end, and things happened.
Mm-hmm.
Like Mafia Land.
Oh, Mafia Land, God.
When the Mafia can go and relax, away from the prying eyes of others.
Yeah. And Reborn is also a mathematics boring.
Yeah. My favorite episodes are like when we first meet Fuda King guy, because that's when for me like, the series like picks up. As soon as we meet Fuda, that's when stuff really picks up. Even though he's like kind of annoying and like he's basically BuzzFeed.
Yeah, he. I like how the characters will all have like one specific quirk that sort of sets them off.
Yeah.
So like Gokudera has this thing where if he sees Bianchi he gets sick, and Fuda has a thing where if it means he falls asleep, and like we talked about Hana and Adambo and her reaction to children and stuff. And I felt like that started off feeling contrived, but then in the later episodes they were able to like construct these fast, like it just became a fast space. Like, these two characters can't possibly meet. So like that I worked for me a lot better than Mafia stuff, where it was just like, we have to figure out a way to keep these two characters, and then that was the plot. Yeah.
And then one of my another favorite episode of mine is called The End and From Then On, as it introduces us to the elves, and it introduces us to more powers from Mukuro, who just basically, he's like an unkillable god. He can go to come back.
Mm-hmm.
And I think like Mukuro is like one of the coolest characters ever invented. He's like on my top list of like favorite villain characters in that. But winding down to Richie, your prediction for season 2. Like as of right now, what do you think will happen?
Well, they started introducing another mafia family, and they seem to have their own baby. And on the chunk of episodes have what I think is the opening playing. And in that you can see that like everyone's students are on the other side and there's going to be a tournament and they invite each other. So I'm just like, it's that.
Yeah, we got the tournament arc.
Yeah, you mentioned like the 7 strongest Marth babies and there's like the 7 rings and the 7 colors of the rainbow. Okay, I can kind of see where this is all going.
No, you cannot. Reborn is to surprise us.
Now, of what you're talking about, Richie, would you like to continue with this?
Oh no, we're going to continue with. We're not still doing it. Is that Marvel copyright claimed videos? So it was desperate. Sort of, we had to take all these down and not mention Reborn again for a while. But yeah, once we have time, we're gonna rewatch. We're gonna watch season 2.
Did you just say rewatch? I'm up for it. I'm totally up for
rewatching.
rewatch season 1. I asked my boyfriend if he wants season 1 with me. He was like, no.
Yeah. Season 1 for me, I can just never do because it's just boring.
Because then it'll give you a fresh perspective, Richie. Oh.
But I think for us here, this has been part 2 of the Dying Chronicles. I have to thank Richie and Sinclair. Where can people find you?
Tell them, Sin.
My house.
YouTube.com/SINCLAIRLORE.
WXAZBF.
Keep in mind, most of the channel has nothing to do with the Reborn videos. Do not have the word Reborn in the title because we were worried about being banned.
Oh my god, it was some bad, like, flu something. Some bot was acting out, because we have no footage, we have nothing. We just say the words Reborn, basically.
YouTube being YouTube, basically.
Yeah.
Reborn is, like, impossible to find on you because Marvelous keep taking it down.
Yeah, because...
That includes discussions of Reborn.
Yeah, discussions of Reborn, even the show intros are gone now.
Yeah.
Aww.
I mean, you can get the theme songs, but not the actual show intros, which makes me sad.
Yeah.
Interestingly enough, there are whole episodes of Reborn that are still up.
They haven't taken. But I guess this prevents me from getting spoiled, because I won't accidentally see anything from a later season.
Yeah, unless you actively go out and...
I don't think I'll be doing that.
Okay.
I think I'm not going to Reborn with you.
Yeah, because you can nip it hole there.
Yeah.
But I think this will do it for us in the Dying of this little adventure here for part 2 of our first season wrap up. You can find me all the description. And you can find Sinclair and Richie in the description below at Sinclair Lore, because lore is very deep and it's very important. Check out our affiliates if you want any stuff. We are a bi-weekly podcast, which episodes coming out every 2 weeks, whenever I feel like it, whenever I feel like editing. So episodes come out 2 weeks, but not like the exact same days. But Richie, Sinclair, thank you for being on.
Thank you for inviting us.
Yeah, thank you for inviting us.
Have you on again? And if you are, drop some comments about what you think of the show, season 1. If you'd like us to continue with this, I mean, I'd love to continue with this because Reborn is like one of my favorite animes to talk about after season 1.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As for a song to go out on, what's in your head?
Hibari's theme.
Dun
What?
dun 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 dun.